facing is to tell you what particular and how the numbers look like. According to the United Nations, so far it says that more than 12.4 million people have been forced from their homes across Sudan. Also, this includes 3.3 million refugees who have fled to neighboring countries. And these particular neighboring countries, well, you guessed it right, Kenya is among them, and this particular war erupted around in 2023 in April. So yes, that marks 2 years so far. This particular war started between the Sudanese armed forces as well as the rapid support forces led by Hamdan Hemeti Dagalo. So this is what we'll be diving into, just to really understand what the humanitarian crisis looks like. We have seen videos over the 2 years of hospitals being banned and even blown. So we'll be taking a look at what the impact of this particular crisis has. And John Riaga is here with us. Thank you very much for creating time, sir.
Thank you, Stanley.
First off, as much as yes, the United Nations as of mid this month says that there's quite the humanitarian crisis, but then on your side as MSF, you have traversed this particular country, the different places. Talk to us on how the scale of humanitarian crisis there is.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Stanley, and thank you for even this opportunity that you have given so that we are able to speak about the crisis that is Sudan. Actually, in our region, there is Sudan and DRC that we are saying what we are calling forgotten crisis. But today we are speaking about Sudan. And as you have you said right, the crisis, the humanitarian crisis in Sudan has reached, catastrophic levels. Mm-hmm. And, even before 2003 April, as MSF, we were already in Sudan. And because of the fragile nature of the medical situation in that country. But this has even gone deeper since April 2023, that now we are looking at 2 years. And that's why we are speaking about this as a global crisis. And we are basically calling upon everyone, and we are saying, look, what is going on in Sudan is catastrophic already as it is. And you have mentioned close to 13 million people that have been displaced. And we are looking at that situation in terms of what it has spiraled into, because we are looking at a humanitarian crisis of a very big magnitude. We are looking at women and children, and as you know, when some of these things happen, it is women and children that bear the biggest brand. But what we are saying, we basically have three main messages of what we are saying as MSF that we are saying. Number one, and you have talked about it, there is the attack on medical facilities, mm-hmm. which is grave. Even as we speak today, one of the biggest crises we have is in a place called Zamzam IDP camp that had close to 500,000 people, mm-hmm. but which came under attack. And in February this year, we had to leave Zamzam because it got to a point that we could not guarantee the safety of MSF staff. And we had, several staff who had endured already the very difficult, situation in Zamzam, but it got to a point that we had to say, no, we cannot continue like this. So what we are seeing now is people moving from Zamzam to a place called Tawila that is about 60 kilometers. Mm-hmm. And they get to Tawila and the stories are horrific, what we are hearing of what is happening back in Zamzam. So essentially what we are saying, so the other thing is, apart from the attack on humanitarian workers, MSF and everybody else, we are also seeing, a systematic blockade mm-hmm. of humanitarian aid. Mm-hmm. It has not been possible for us to move within Sudan. Mm. What we are seeing is people need medical supplies. People need, medical experts to get into Sudan so that we can respond. Because as MSF, what we say is we we give medical services to the people who need it the most. And the people of Sudan needed it even before this current conflict. And now it has even become worse. But what we are seeing is blockade. So we cannot move medical supplies from one area to the other. And this is happening across. So what we are saying is, can we then be allowed to move medical supplies, because people need it, and it is for the people of Sudan. What we are saying is the warring parties give us an opportunity to get into the various places where we are operating as MSF to deliver medical services. There must be a scale-up of humanitarian need, of humanitarian aid into the various places of Sudan. If that does not happen immediately, then we are looking at even a bigger problem in Sudan.
Right. When you started, you mentioned two words: forgotten crisis. Having all these years, in the 2 years, having traversed the different parts of this particular country and just seeing the magnitude of this humanitarian crisis, first off, why do you think it is a forgotten crisis, and the kind of impact that you're seeing where it seems that the whole world has actually forgotten that this crisis is ongoing?
Yeah, and that's what we are saying as Doctors Without Borders, that we are calling upon all the players and saying, look, it is the lives of the people of Sudan that is endangered. And what we are saying is, people must now stop. And I know there have been attempts, but we are saying, can we see something that can work? That when people sit and say, we want to focus on the crisis in Sudan, can we have things that are going to work, that we are going to see people saying, okay, fine, we are going to open all the roads so that humanitarian aid can come in. We are going to ensure that medical supplies reach the hospitals and the facilities that we have actually put in place. And Stanley, just to mention, we are getting into the rainy season right now.
Hold that thought. Let's take a short break so that we can come back and unpack that, and also take a look at the impact of this particular crisis in Kenya's land as well. We're taking a short break, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back to discuss this particular conversation, the humanitarian crisis in Sudan. It has been 2 years and still ongoing.